Lucky you guys, you get a little Origin buy period special. And in this one, we're going to be focusing mainly around the first three big important buy rounds. That's round 13, 14, and 16. And at least setting yourself up for that. And obviously, yeah, there's all different types of styles of buys that you might have, missing round 13, but playing sort of 14, 16. That's usually the guys with the round 13 buy and the round 19 buy, which is cool. They can fit in really well, in contrast to the other players that do play round 13, but they may miss round 14 and hurt you in that way. But you have that other player that misses 13 but plays 14 and the next few there. Or there are teams obviously like the Dolphins that play 13, 16, 19. You've got the Tigers who only miss round 13, which is cool as well. And then, the Knights, they only miss round 16 out of the big buys and miss round 12. So there's lots of different styles of players, and you need to decide as well how that fits, the types of buys that you're going to make, how they fit your team for this entirety of the period. So hooker, we're going to kick it off with first. And those that play round 13 and 14, we're going to kick it off with Reed Marnie. And I've got him as either a buy or a hold. I think heading in, obviously right now, you can go for that as well. Fairly expensive, but he's going to be a guy that plays around 13, 14, and 16. So very, very helpful there. And if that's something that suits you and fits your planning, then that's a good one to lock in for sure, even if he is that a little bit more expensive. And kind of what you're going to get out of him, the minutes you're going to get, and that type of safety there, which is great. And he hasn't missed any time this year, touch wood, that he's going to continue to do so. So Reedy, if you got him in the last few weeks, good stuff on that front. Jaden Brayley, who we speak about next. I just don't think he's a buy this week now that we saw the minutes that he ended up with last game. Hopefully that was just a little bit of a rest for him, given he played huge minutes in the 2 weeks before, and he can get back to some big minutes in this one. So at this point, it's a hold. I wouldn't be purchasing him. That lower score cooks his break even a bit, and you can at least wait till round 13 now for him in that one. That's probably all I have to say on Jaden. Joey Lussick, so he's a hold for me now. He's got no Brendan Hands on the bench, and I just think that you can lock him in there for now. Look, I've got Brayley and Lussick, and obviously Grant as well, so I feel like there's every chance that one of these guys gets injured, a suspension, something like that happens. So, if I was to sell one of them now and then the other one got suspended or injured, then I'm cooked for that round 13. So I think some of these players, guys, as well, you can just hold them all the way through until 13. And even if you have a double, double hooker, 3 edges, 4 mids, 3 halves, whatever it is that's a little bit over, you got the extra one. And guys, just remember that you can only have your starting 13. So you can only have one hooker. If you have a second one, it doesn't, they don't get that score for you that week. If you have 3 halves, you only get 2 of the scores there. And whoever you leave on your bench, you don't get their score. So just be aware of that. If you've got doubles, if you've got the extra, just move them on in round 13 if it works out that way, because we know what injuries and suspensions can do to our sides, that is for sure. So Lussick's a hold this week. You may lose a bit of cash, but he could also score 40 or 50 and do a great job for your side. Jacob Little is the next guy on the list there. And so he's had a really up and down the last couple of weeks. He had a shocker 2 weeks ago, and then last week he went massive and got a 60 odd. So if you own him right now, he's a hold. I don't think he's a buy. Leave it at that for Jacob Little. He covers a few good rounds, obviously having a buy next week, and then covers that next bunch of games. Blake Brayley, I just wanted to pop him on there because he plays 13-14. If you don't like the Reed Marnie situation, Blake's a little bit cheaper and should score fairly well. Think a lot of tackles in the next few games. Probably not a heap of attacking stats against some tougher opponents, but Storm are obviously missing a few players as well this week, so that doesn't hurt him too much, I don't think, but he's a hold or a buy, up to you as well. I think Reed's probably a slightly better option, even at the more expensive price, but if you like Blake, I want to throw him in there as a potential option. So, the players and the teams that play round 13 and they miss round 14. So we've got Jeremy Marshall-King. I've got him as a buy right now. You can wait until round 13 if you like. His price isn't going to go anywhere too crazy, but he obviously plays 13, 16, 19. If you have someone that covers 14 for you, whether it's Brayley or something like that, that can work, whether it's Lussick, those types of players there. They will cover round 14 when you need that hooker. And yeah, if you've got a player that misses sort of 16 or 19, then that helps as well as a good coverage. But Jeremy, he plays all of those and can do a really good job for you. Brandon Smith, you can have him as a hold or a sell, whatever you decide. Whatever works best for your team, you can do that. If you've got the shits with him, that's fine. You can move him on. If you want to hold, you don't think he's going to go down too much further in price, then that could be a solid option as well. For the hookers that miss round 13 but play 14 and 16, you've got Wade Egan. They have 13 and 19 games off. I think he's a hold at this point. He hasn't played too great the last 2 weeks. Neither of the Warriors, so I wouldn't be looking to buy him right now. But if you have him, I think you're going to hold through the period for sure. Sam Verrills, he is the buy of the week in the hooking position. Super cheap. Let's get him up on the screen now. Sammy boy. He's not in the big buyers list down there, but I definitely think he's someone that you should be looking at 384. So Chris Randall moves into the 6th position. And what we do see from Sammy is him moving into the starting side. And he played 72 minutes on the weekend, so the rest of the time at hooker. He obviously got some good running meters, which was nice. He also did in round 1 at 108. All the other games that he came on, he didn't get to run for too much. But it seems to be when he gets into his work a little bit, he can have those runs. But he, as I said, has some games where he doesn't. So that's obviously helpful, but the tackles are there. So he's got 39 tackles on the weekend. He had 39 and 43 across the first 2 games there, which netted him a 43 and a 36 in sort of 57 and 65 minutes. He has a break even of 23 now, or close to it, and should be able to get big minutes now with no hooker on the bench. If you do need someone that helps cover round 16, that's really helpful. That one there, he can kind of match up with, Jaden Brayley. He misses round 13, which Brayley covers. And yeah, like he has that buy in round 17, which doesn't really help. Plays round 19 as well. So Verrills, a very interesting purchase this week with Tanner Boyd out for 6 weeks. So that gives you round 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It may hurt a little bit with the round 16 one. So he could just be a sell come round 17, to be honest with you there. If Boyd comes back right on that one. So it's a little bit of a tougher one. If he got that 16 and then was out round 17, you could sell. That would work. I think he's going to make decent cash and score pretty well over the next few weeks anyway. So up to you if you want to jump into Sammy Verrills, but I think he's going to be a solid pick this week, that's for sure. All right, that's that on those players. Misses round 13 and 16, no one of note. It's really only the Broncos that have that one. And then the likely Origin guys or the 50-50 Origin players that are just not worth buying right now. You got Robson. When it comes to, I think you're holding all the way to 13. If it gets to that stage and he's in Origin, you can hold or sell. If he doesn't make Origin, he's a clear buy, probably, because given he's the best hooker scorer at the moment, that's probably where you want to lead with Robbo. It's very hard, in my opinion, to hold any mids and hookers across Origin because they usually try to get them a little bit of a rest over the round 14, 17, 20, maybe even in those standalone weeks where they can train fully. If they're playing good minutes in Origin, which we've seen Robson do, we saw Cook do last year, and even Grant, they didn't score very well after those Origin games. So that's where selling them works. So you can do that with Robson, you can do that with Grant, you can hold or sell as well. With both of those guys, they only miss for their teams 13, 16, 19, and then whatever the team decides from there as to if they have a rest, if they have rest in games where they play 50 to 60 minutes. Maybe their energy isn't as good in game, so they miss a few more tackles. There's a lot of those type of things. So they're the two, and then Appy, I think, is just a sell. And I don't think you can target Damien Cook just because he has Mamazelis on the bench, and he will lose minutes to him. That's for sure. So that's the hooking position. It's a little bit of a smaller one, but definitely one that is very, very important given it's, it's very hard to get one on the park each and every week, that's for sure. So let's discuss the mid section. And those players that play round 13 and 14, I think mids are pretty tough. You need 3 on the park every week. And that's where my suggestion of having 5 mids that can cover across those weeks is going to be super helpful, I think, anyway. So those that play round 13 and 14, you've got Cam McInnes, who I think is a clear hold. Some people will say he's a sell because the minutes aren't there and the like, but I do think overall he's someone that, yes, he might not be scoring perfectly unless he's scoring a try in some recent games, but they're going to have some close ones coming up. Tackles are going to be right at his forefront and exactly what you want as an owner. So less chance for the Sharkies to attack heavily and yeah, more time in possession for the other teams, right? A bit more of a back and forth affair. It's going to be great for Cam McInnes. So I'd be holding him. He's very, very helpful in round 13. Sam Hughes, I have him as a clear hold as well. I think he's going to be the hold over Salmon. So that's why I have Salmon there as a hold or a sell, depending how things go this week with Preston. Preston didn't even go on the park last week, so I think that'll happen over the next few. And Salmon, I believe, is the guy that's going to lose some of his benefit. Sam Hughes a clear front row forward, whereas they don't really have many of them on the bench. And he's ahead of Curtis Moran, so I'm not going to worry about him. You got Curran and obviously King starting, and I think Hughes is first cab off the rank. So with Sammy there, he's a very, very good one to hold. I think we can cover him. He's 400k. He's not going to go. He's going to go up a bit more in price, but then he'll kind of level out, and we can sell him in around 15 or a 16, 17, 18, where like somewhere there I think works well for Sammy. Adam Elliott. I've got him as a hold now. He's lost enough cash that he's not going to go too much further down. He probably should be scoring 40 odd, on a weekly basis, 38, 40 1 week into a 50 odd with a try, something like that, to get you like a 40-ish, 45-ish average, right? So he's a hold for me. Plays around 13, 14, misses 16, but you can hold him through the entire buy period, and I think it'll be worthwhile in the end rather than using that trade. Josh Curran. Very similar mold, like he could be a little bit of a higher scorer than that of Elliott. So if you own Curran right now, hold steady with him. That's for sure. That's the play there. Not a clear buy now after seeing the minutes that he received last week, but a hold until told otherwise or till shown otherwise for sure. And he has been very good on the injury front this year. All right, Ryan Madison. He's the risky player this week. I've got him as a very cautious type of buy if you wanted, and a risky buy if you wanted to do it. You've got Bryce Cartwright on the bench, and there's every chance that he could take some minutes from Ryan Madison. If that's the case and he gets 50 or 60 on the edge, it's not enough, in my opinion, for him to be a very good purchase right now. He's very, very cheap. He's lost a lot of cash, but I think it's still too risky. And we know what happens with Madison on a year-to-year basis. He can come out and be great, and then just be terrible, and you have to sell him straight away. Or he kind of holds it and they move into the bench last minute and then he scores poorly again. So it's an even worse year for Madison, obviously, with the price that he's got to. It could work out, but I think it would be very, very risky and not something I'm going to be doing personally. Harm Saleh, I think it's the last chance to get him. He's gone up enough in price now that his what he's priced at in the 30s now probably means that he's got a little bit of cash to make. Can do solidly for you over the buy period, playing 13-16, 13-19, 13-14-19, even better. But yeah, like, is he going to be a massive scorer for you? I'm not sure. Minutes were 50 last week instead of 56. Does that trend continue going down, or does he hold somewhere in the 50s? If it's in the 50s, it'll be worth it. If not, it's a worry. McKaylee. People asked me to talk about him this week. He's a very interesting one as well. Let's just pop Sally up just firstly because people are still looking at him. He's priced at 30. Can he continue to score around that 40 mark? So he got 49 minutes last week. If that's the case going forward, I find it very difficult for him to average 40. If it's 56 minutes, then I expect him to be around the 40 mark and he'll still be worth it. But having the buy next week, I think this is the last one, as I said, because he'll be priced up again near the 31, 32 mark. And following that buy could be a little bit tough to purchase. So he's one to grab right now. We got Thomas McKaylee to look at as well at 289. So he had a really good week on the weekend, getting 35. The minutes is the worry here. Can he continue to go absolutely bonkers like this in 17 or 21 minutes? If he gets 21 minutes again, to get 30 odd and be worth buying at a price at 21, he needs to get 3 offloads, 2 tackle breaks, have no missed tackles. So he hasn't got any missed tackles in both weeks. And he even had a turnover tackle last week. So I think it's more likely that in the scenario where he gets 20 minutes, that he gets around that 25 points going forward. And I don't think that he's going to be a buy. Yes, they lose Cotter in the 13 role, but I'm not sure if that affects McKaylee too much. Maybe it affects Granville coming back in and playing some 13. McKaylee seems like a 20-minute guy going forward, which could be a little bit frustrating there for sure. So that's McKaylee. Sorensen, the other guy on the list, he's out again this week. So someone asked me in the YouTube comments, and I just said you can they wanted to sell. I said go for it. Like, we don't know when he's going to come back. Is it next week? Is it the week after? Is he going to play 80 minutes? Look, he's had one good game returning, but then he's hurt his knee twice now. So Similar situation to that of Lemuelu. I think they'll come back with a little bit more of a conservative type of return to play and minutes with Sorensen. Does he even come back through the middle and Garner starts? There's a few question marks on Sorensen after the second play up of the injury now. Okay, for the mids that play in round 13 but miss 14, it is Max Plath. He's a hold. I can see you buying him if you really need someone that plays 13, 16, 19. We all do. But misses 14, and that's not a worry at all. Like, you still got 17 on the park if you buy him in that one. Then I think you can still buy him. Otherwise, just a clear hold now for that entirety of the period, like myself. If you got Connor Watson, you're not buying now. He's off the bench. He's a hold. He's very expensive at 670 on now. So just hold until, otherwise, maybe at least until 14, and then go from there. Hopefully he gets more than 40 odd minutes and can be, a good player to have for you. Terrell May, surely he loses the minutes again this week, which is the trend that we were seeing before last week with Hargraves out. They've got Spencer Lenu on the bench as well, and Radley returning. So that's 3 middle forwards that come in. And they've got to find minutes for Watson. There's a few things I need to do. I think May you can either hold this week is fine. If you're holding till 13, he'll play good minutes 13, likely. But after that, it's a tough one. Is he going to lose cash over the next few weeks? Potentially. I think this week you can hold. You can also sell this week if you want to. And then Morgan Smithies, he's a hold in my opinion over the bye period. Get through this week. Use him as a looper. Plays round 13. Misses 14, yes. You could probably sell then if you want to, or hold him for a lot longer, which could work out. All right, Tohu Harris. He's a hold. AFB is either a hold or a buy. I think I've got him just more in the hold category now that he's very expensive. Both those guys miss 13 but play the next bunch all the way through till 19, which is great. No origin. Just hold. Jamin Jolliffe. He's still 100k cheaper than, or close to that, of AFB. So he's a buy or a hold. The bench looks even better for him now, which is good. And I think that he's an easy guy. That at 700k, he's almost peaked in price. I think he's got another 50k to make. It's up to you what you want to do with him. Definitely holding for the period. Buy if you want. Corey Waddell. We'll see what happens after this week. So holding for another week and then reassess next week. If he keeps his spot, you could continue holding. Like if Burbo goes to bench or something like that. But I'd say minutes do drop then. So probably sell next week. That's probably where we're at. Davi Moale. So a few people asked about him as well. So I've got him as a potential buy, but proceed with caution for sure with Davi. At 329k, he is coming off some, when he gets decent minutes, he's got some, got a decent PPM there. So let's just have a look at this year solely. He's got a 0.86 PPM there. He had a 6 in 22 minutes, which wasn't great there. But outside of that game, it's been a much better little setup for him. He has only played over 30 minutes twice, and that was a 37 and a 42 point effort in 45 and 38 minutes. So in those scenarios, he does look really good. Like in the decent minute setups, he's gone 77 and 95 meters gained, and that's any game over 28 minutes, which is cool. And when he does that, he's going to get the odd tackle break. He hasn't missed tackles in the last few weeks. He's had 1 miss in his last 3 efforts, which is great. And he really needs to step up now with Murray gone. I do expect him to play 35 to 40 minutes. And again, there's a little bit of a guess. That's why we're proceeding with caution. In 2023, when he got over 30 minutes, which is what we're expecting here, he had managed to average 31 in 40 minutes, which again, I expect him to hit about the 40-minute mark. So is 7 points of value enough for you in your side this week and for what you need in your team? I'm not sure if it is, but if it is for you, then go for it. All right, those that missed round 13 and 16, it's Xavier Wilson. And the way that the bench is set up now with Fletcher Baker missing from the team this week, they've got another edge on there with Josefsky. So I do think that Wilson is probably a clear hold for the next bunch. And you can make the decision at round 13. So it's a hold or sell for Wilson. But he's playing really, really well. And he even ran for more meters than Payne Haas last week. So that's pretty cool there for sure. All right, those that missed round 13 only is Stefano Utoikamanu. He is a hold, not a buy. Scoring well enough to hold. So yeah, that's it. Well, not many people own him anyway. Samuel Afinu, you can either buy him this week, or he's just a clear hold. I don't know if he's a buy from next week or the week after. He will be more expensive. It might be like a buy this week or buy in round 14. And that might be it, because the dual position will be pretty helpful from there for sure. At least in the mids. Like mids is the most important part, I think. Edges, we're fairly covered. Obviously, unless we're selling Crichton, which is likely to happen. Yeah, find an interesting one there for sure. And then the Origin guys. So likely Origin or the 50-50 guys there. Cotter is likely a sell, but he will be cheaper than the other guys, and you could hold, but I do think he'll get managed minutes wise unless Cowboys are just on a losing streak and they need him 100%, which is likely at this point. With most of the Origin guys, they are likely sells. It's very hard to get through the Origin period having more than 3. I think 3 Origin guys is max that you can hold. Anything above that, and you're just going to be short and trading too much week to week. So if you can set yourself up, maybe selling 1 or 2 of these guys, holding a couple, I'm probably going to sit there and end up holding 2. I think through the 2 or 3 max through the buy period. I think I've got 5 at the moment, assuming that Hines and Crichton both make Origin. Grant, Cotter, maybe I have 4. So we'll work that out. But I think 2 or 3 is the max you want to hold, selling a couple. So yeah, whichever ones you want to sell is cool. But I think Carrigan, with Haas returning, his minutes are going to suffer a little bit, and he's peaked in price. And yeah, that's probably where you want to sell him. Cotto is likely going to hold around the 700 odd K mark. He'll go up and down based on that massive score last week. So that's that. Payne Haas, I think most people haven't bought, but if you did, I think he's probably a sell come Origin. Minutes will, we saw, for the mids and the hookers last year, the minutes dropped down, PPM dropped down. Except for Isaiah Yeo. If you've got him now, you're holding him for the year. Just my opinion. That's what I'd be doing if I have him. Even missing those 3 games, he is the guy that comes out and plays 80 minutes post-Origin. Is an absolute freak, that's for sure. Jermaine Hopgood, no idea what's going to happen with Origin. You could buy right now and hope. You definitely should be holding right now. And then in round 13, if he makes Origin, he's a sell. That's where it's at with him. Very, very interesting player. One of the guns that people sold last week that I think is a mistake. Edges. All right. Those that play round 13 and 14. So we've got Kaipis Paul. He's a hold. Not a buy at this point. Preston. Yeah, it's very clear cut with Kai. We don't have to spend much time on him. He's just a hold. With Jacob Preston, we're going to wait and see what happens with him over the next few weeks. If he loses cash, if he plays off the bench and then gets a starting spot in round 13, he might be a buy then. We'll see. But minutes, he's also been playing about that 60 mark, which is pretty frustrating there. Tyson Frizzell, also one of those guys I think you just have to wait on. See what happens over the next few weeks. If he plays lesser minutes or whatever else, then and decide from there. Teague Wilton, I have him as a hold as well. Wouldn't look to buy. I think Brenton Nickera is more of a buy over the next few weeks. Now, I think probably is the one this week coming. Especially if Crichton you think is going to make Origin, then Nickera might be the guy to replace him. Play around 13, 14, help you out there. Misses 16, obviously, in that one. But yeah, would be a very good purchase this week. And then you move to Dylan Lucas. He's a hold this week for sure. With Nickera, guys, just to finish that off, he is getting more consistent. Tackle numbers are going up. We'll get the odd try, but a couple of tougher games coming up. But for him, I think defensively he's kind of back and he's got in a bit of a groove enough to be a buy and make a bit of cash. Lucas, yeah, hold for this week. See what happens with him, Frizzell, and that situation for sure. Tommy Eisenhuth, he's a hold. I don't think you can buy him. They're out next week. Yeah, a couple of things like that you need to think of for sure. Made enough money. Just hold for now. Hold longer term, to be honest with you. Hard to buy, though. Vil Kickout, it's hard to buy him as well, so just hold. He's doing pretty well. Had a great game on the weekend, actually. Best of the season. Sean Lane, hold or sell. With him, he's not scoring well enough. Anywhere near well enough to buy. Even with a decent schedule here, you could even sell this week, to be honest with you. If you own him, probably just hold. Finafuaki, hold 1 more week. He played big minutes on the weekend, even with Lukey on the bench. So see how that plays out. If he loses minutes this week, then probably sell. But last 2 weeks have been good enough for him to make some cash. Lukey, let's wait and see what happens with him over the next few weeks. If he can get to sort of 60 odd minutes with 400k or whatever he can be, then that could be cool. Plays round 13, misses round 14. That's Nat Butcher. He's the only one there I've got on the list. Again, if I've missed anyone, guys, sorry. Can't win them all. But just ask. Let me know in the comments. I think I've got most people. We'll see. I'm only human, hey? Nat Butcher, I think you just hold. That's about it. With Nat, misses round 13, plays round 14 and 16. You got Blore. He's a clear hold, not a buy anymore. Simple as that. Hopefully he builds up to 80 minutes and he does really well for us. Chan in round 13 or this week, the next week, whatever. He's an easy sell. That's for sure. Jackson Ford, if you've got him, you're holding on. If you've got Barnett, you're holding on. And then you've got Bo Fermor or Barnett to the edge. That'll be fun. Hopefully he can get a try for you. Bo Fermor, not a buy anymore. He's a hold. A bit of a tough one on the weekend. Hopefully he can bounce back in this week. But we'll see how that one plays out. Burbo, if you've held on to him all this time, I think you just hold now. So he's just a wait and see what happens with minutes next week when Olakwatu comes back. So hold this week and then see what happens. Pete Kura, he misses round 13, 16. So he's either a hold through that period if he starts to pick things up over the next few. So don't sell him now, I don't think. Just see what happens against some of the lighter sides. And if he does well, hold. If he doesn't, just sell. That's fine. Given he misses those two big ones, it doesn't really help. Edges are pretty cool right now. Obviously, the teams have missed round 13 only. It's Tigers. So for Bateman, I don't know if you can buy him this week back to the edge. Already gone up a fair bit in price, misses 13, but hold on for now, those owners that do have him. Same with Isaiah Papali'i, moving to 13. I wonder if that helps him out. Had a shocker on the weekend, but I do think you just hold there. And then you've got Crichton and Fafita. If they both make Origin, which I think they will, then you'll have to sell them. Crichton will be up so expensive by that point, which will be great. And you can use that cash to get anyone you like. All right, halves section. Thanks again for sticking around all this way, guys. Very, very helpful for me. And I very much appreciate it after the, obviously the work I've put in here. I hope that it helps you guys do really well. And that's my goal through these videos, is to get someone to win the comp from watching my videos. That'd be cool. All right. Plays around 13, 14. You've got Dylan Brown. So he's a buy or a hold. Either way is cool. Be holding him through that period for sure. Still has a few more weeks without Moses. Not too expensive, a tick over 700. We're likely to see Hines in Origin. We don't have Galvin to play 13. Do you get one of the dual position guys in center or wing fullback in a Strange in a weeks? Do you get Max Plath to play half that week? So they're all the questions, but really there's not a lot to play both that should be able to do a cracking job for you. But anyway, Brown, a good one to hold or buy. Moses, let's wait and see. If he comes back round 12, looks okay. Then round 13, he's looking like, round 12 looks pretty good. Round 13, you could buy for sure. But that's a bit of a risk. Burton, not sure if he's going to be like 18th man. If he is for Origin, then that hurts. So I just think you have to wait until then, but hold it if you own him. Round 13, if he's still at a reasonable price and he's not in Origin, you could buy. Dearden, just thought I'd pop him in there as a very interesting one. He's either a buy this week, to be honest, or if you own him, you're just holding through this period. He won't play Origin unless there's a few injuries. Could be 18th man as well. Brimson could be 18th man. It's so hard. But it doesn't affect Brimson in round 13. It would affect Dearden given he plays round 13. For the guys that play round 13 and miss 14, it is Sam Walker and Isaiah Katoa. Both those guys are holds, not buys. If you're going to buy Walker, it was last week. His break-even comes back up a little bit now. Katoa has made a fair bit of cash, so if you just got both of them, hold both of them. And that is all, I think, right now. Misses round 13, but plays 14, 16. That's Jerome Hughes. Unfortunately, likely to be out the next 4 weeks. He's a sell. If you have SJ, then he's a clear hold. That's it with that one. No one available important that misses around 13, 16. If you've got Ezra Mam, I suppose you could just hold for this next period and decide in round 13. That's probably the only one that I should add there. For that one, Mam, hold for now. Easy as. Misses 13 only is Galvin. You just hold him through the period, in my opinion. The likely Origin guys, or the 50-50 guys that are not worth buying, are DCE. He's a sell come round 13. He misses 4 of that next 7. You could hold for 14, 15 if you'd like, and then sell, but up to you. Nico Hines, again, same situation as DCE, in my opinion. You could hold him till round 16 and then sell if you think he's going to back up. But if Trindle's back, he may not. We'll see. Munster, he's a hold or a sell. Like, he only misses 13, 16, 19. To be fair, I think that they'll rest him at some point as well, so he probably is a sell. And then Cleary, you could hold or sell. Again, misses minimum 13, 16, 19. They may rest him for a little bit longer after Origin, given he's had trouble, obviously post-Origin with hamstring and right now with that situation that he's in for sure. So that's that. For the centers, we got Kale Iro. He's a buy or a hold. If you don't own him yet, buy him. If not, hold him through the entire buy period. Very, very good one. We're so glad that we picked him. We were able to get him in the game so we could have him in that center slot, which can be tough for sure. Blaise Talangi, if you have held him this long, obviously through the outs, he now gets the fullback position. Unsure if he's going to have it in round 13 or if Gutho's going to be back then, because it's last week he got the surgery done before round 9, so round 9, 10, 11, 12. If it is a 4-week thing, he could be back for that 5th week in round 13. If he misses that, then Talangi's going to be a great center for that game. Either way, just hold him for now. He could make some money. Have some tougher matchups, but we'll see how they go. I think it's Broncos this week. Dan Gagai, I've got him as a buy. Yeah, the gun center, really. He's the best in the position right now out of all of these guys. Like, you got Aro, and then I'd have Gagai next. Lomax, I think, is going to do well back on the wing. But yeah, Gagai, the clear buy. And then Lomax, if you could either buy or hold. If you own him, he's probably a little bit more owned than Gagai. So buy or hold for Gags as well. Lomax has the buy next week. Gagai the week after. So either way for them. Both very expensive, but I do think they're going to be guns for the year. Gagai, everyone keeps asking me about him. Is he going to make Origin? It's Val Holmes and it is Hammer. If Hammer's not fit, then yeah, okay. But I suppose that's a risk you're taking. Similar to that with Brimson. Is he 18th man? That kind of stuff. Rather than being, is he in the team? It's very unlikely that they drop Holmes, but they dropped Gagai last year. Slater did. He could drop Val Holmes if he doesn't think he's in great form. So there's that to think about there. And then Lomax, really good setup back on the right wing. Hopefully, could be on the left, but we'll have to see on that one. Carraz, if you don't own him, I think wait until next week. They've got Panthers this week. He's carrying a little bit of a knee problem, but just hold. He's been named. Sweet as, just hold there. Less on the buy side than the hold. That's why I've got hold first. Ramian, don't buy him anymore, I don't think. Just hold. They've got a tougher couple of matchups coming up over the next 3 weeks. Bradman Best, if you own hold, don't buy, I don't think. Penasidi, he's a hold over the next few weeks. Potentially buy soon if Moses comes back, and he could play a good role for you over the buy period. Taylor May, if you own him right now, if you held on, you got 51 last week, hold again. He plays 13, plays 14. That's helpful. Isaac Tungo, if you have him in your side, I have him in Supercoach. Frustrating as hell, but just hold. It's 1 week. Yes, a higher break even, but he could be the guy that goes bonkers in round 11, 12, 13, 14 even. We don't know. If you miss out on him getting a 70 or 80, that'll be frustrating. He's had a couple of his worst games of his career, the last 2 games, and that could be super frustrating. But yeah, Penrith outside backs, It's a weird world. Players to play round 13, miss round 14. You got Ethan Strange as a clear hold, in my opinion. Joey Manu, you could buy him this week. You could wait till 13. Again, what does 14 do for you? Buy or hold. For Joey Manu, very expensive, but doing great things. Ewan Aiken, I just think he's a clear hold now. It's very hard to buy him at 680 odd. He could lose some minutes, but it seemed like Felice Kafusi was the one to lose minutes last week. Not sure if that'll continue, but Aiken, any time he's playing 80 minutes, he's going to be worth exactly what he's priced at right now. Maybe even a little bit more. Like you could go 30, 40k more if he scores a try or something like that. Matt Timoko, hard to buy him this week, in the next few weeks, obviously with a buy this week. BYE, that's a lot of buys. He's a purchase. You could put him in your team. There you go. Need some other options. But Timoko, I just think, hold through it. Maybe buy next week. Awkward one for sure. Farnworth plays around 13, 16, 19. Maybe look at him over the next few weeks. If the Dolphins are still playing well, then you could look to buy. They have a lovely little stretch of games over the next month. Hopefully his shoulder is okay. We'll have to see how he tackles this week and go from there. Those that missed around 13 will play the next few, and 14 to 16 is obviously Garrick. I have him as a buy this week or a wait until round 14 or 15. 14 is Panthers, so 15 could be the way to go about it. It's just, the price is great. It's just those next bunch of games, and like he's gone double. I don't know if he can go double again and get another 60 odd, but or 80 odd. But crazy things have happened to Ruben Garrick at centre. Sometimes Manly just go on a run and he gets all the benefit, and sometimes he just doesn't do much and gets 30 odd. So that's Garrick. RTS, you can hold or sell. He's a bit of a frustrating one for owners. I can see the appeal of holding, and that's what I've told people the last few weeks, but he's getting harder and harder to hold because Warriors aren't playing well. They're not going left. It's a tough situation. Nick Meaney didn't get the fullback slot. Fa'alongo got it. So I think he's just a clear hold at centre is where I'd be at with Nick. Not a buy right now. Again, Hughes is out. Not sure if that helps him at all, if they're just going to send it out to him a little bit more rather than Hughes kind of dummying and going short to Katoa. We'll find out, but just a clear hold. White, had to throw him in there. I just think he needs to be at 6. People are looking at him as a buy, so I just want to nip that in the bud. Not in this team. Yes, the Troll's back, but yeah, it's a tough sledding in that squad for sure. No one in the next 2 sections that I'd be looking at in Tigers for sure, or the Broncos. You got Selwyn Cobbo, who you could... Actually, I don't need to mention him. He's like a 50-50 for Origin. I think he's a hold for now, and then maybe sell come Origin for sure. And then Val Holmes, I think you're just holding for the next 3 weeks, and then you could decide they missed 13, 16, 19. He usually backs up. Probably need him to back up given the team struggling at the moment. So you could hold in that center position if you wanted to. And then finishing off with the last section, guys, is the wing fullbacks. And we've got a section of guys here that play in 13 and 14. And that is Armstrong. If you bought him last week or the week before there, he's a guy that you can easily hold. I'm not sure if he's a buy this week. If it's dry weather footy, then that could really work out. And he could be a good guy to still get. Kept his spot on the side, which is great. So you can decide on that one for Armstrong, hold or buy. Drinkwater is a clear buy this week. If you want to spend up the extra, he won't play Origin. Surely not. He's behind Edwards and Tedesco. So that's Drinky. Just a buy. Over 700k, doing good things. Yeah. His low scores haven't been crazy this year either. So may as well go for a little quick extra on him. And many people buying him 0.95%. So this week, Garrick's up at 6.7% brought in. Fa'alongo, we'll speak about in a second, at 4.1. Tedesco at the cheap price, 2.86. So it's a lot of wing fullbacks, obviously, just because Pap is 20% sold. And Jesse Arthur's 6.5% sold, obviously, after his issue there. So that's that. Brimson as well. So we'll get into all these guys in a second. But yeah, Drinkwater at 0.95% in that one. Alrighty. So yeah, just scores have been pretty good, apart from obviously 36, but that was against the Panthers as always. So he doesn't have Panthers coming up. He's got Titans, he's got Bunnies next week, which you're going to want him for that one. In my opinion, that's where I'm looking at. And then Tigers and then Roosters with a few out. So 44, 45, 56, 58, 81. Jeez, I wouldn't mind an 81. That was against Titans too, actually. So, ooh, that's exciting. Maybe he could go nuts against the Titans again. Didn't even think of that. 35 to 22. They need to get a win though, if that were to be the case. So I think Drinky, a great buy this week. Obviously, you have to spend the money spend up the money for him though, as well. Mulatalo, he hasn't scored well since Atkinson's been the team and Trindle hasn't. So you could sell this week if you don't want him to lose too much cash, because he's going to be in a little bit of free fall over the next few weeks for sure. I'm not sure if many people have got him though, but he got up to 652. But down to 614 now after that low one. Look, he still scored 41 the week before, but that was against the Raiders. They pumped him 40-0. He just didn't get any tries like he had the week before. So you could just be like, oh, well, he's just coming into, he just finally came into not scoring tries, but he has Melbourne into Roosters into Penrith over the next 3 weeks. And that's a tough one, even if you did want to hold for 13, 14 there for sure. Very interesting selection there for sure. All right, what else we got? Taruva, if you've got him, you're just holding steady. Sione Katoa, same thing, holding steady. Atkinson, I've got him more as a hold. You can buy for sure, so I'll say hold/buy, but more on the hold side. I don't know, can't see him scoring too crazy above that 30 mark. Yes, if he scores a try or something, you can go 40, 50 and get the break even dropped and get the price rises going, but he seems like a guy that he could get a 20 odd against some of the tougher teams, and he's coming up against a few tougher teams in the next few weeks. If he gets a 20, then his price rises are Gornskis, and that's frustrating. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on him. Greg Marzu, I just think it's a watch. He's gotten really cheap, obviously, but it's very hard to, I think, buy Greggy just because of the, you're buying him for the price, but he has scored terribly. Like, he's got a high score of 36 on the weekend, yes, 9 tackle breaks and 138 run meters there. So, run meters a little bit down since the start of the season when he was playing with Ponga. Again, not sure what you take away from the meters gained, but he has one try there. He has, we're far cry away from all the tries that he was getting in 2023. And yes, they come up against some nicer opponents, but even the Tigers defensively on the edges kept, who they play last week, kept the Dogs a little bit quiet on both edges. So that's the story on that one. Cheap, but yeah, hard to buy. Plays 13, misses 14. You got Osako. I've got him as a buy this week. He's a very interesting sort of selection just because he's gone back up a bit in price. Last week was a big one. Same with the week before, 67 and 70 the last 2 weeks. So he obviously has 20s in his game as well, and then a 74 and a 52. So he's got 3 20s, a 31, and then 4 scores from 52 to 74. So he's definitely a bit more rocks and diamonds. Again, a lovely draw. Manly into Tigers, into Warriors, into Canberra. So at 608k with a lower break even at 20, he's definitely a good purchase for someone who's very, very pod play. Like if he gets back up to 700k and averages sort of 60 odd off the next few weeks, plays around 13, 16, 19 against Canberra, Melbourne, who are going to miss a bunch, and then Rabbitohs. Sounds like a pretty great buy. But he obviously has the worries there of those lower scores. But the last few weeks, they've really gone right a lot more. He didn't get to really even that round 2 game, he did get a try, yes, right at the back end. But he got no tries in that Titans game, just a line break and a try assist. But he did that just in base, in tackle breaks and run meters. But the last 2 weeks, they've gone clearly right, which has helped him. And I think that he can get back to some of those really, really good scores that he got last year where he went all the way to 691. He actually didn't hit 700k, so maybe 691 is going to be his peak as well, heading into into the next sort of couple of months. Yeah, a fun one. Trey Fuller, if you own him like myself, just hold for now. You're not buying anymore. It's too expensive for the amount of games you're going to get. 2 weeks ago it was great. Last week, solid. This week, no. Dom Young. So he's a buy or a hold. He's fairly cheap at 505k and obviously has some decent scores in him, right? 505 for him. Coming off, a 43 in game 1, 77 into a 15 and neg 12. So 15 was against Panthers. Then the send-off. Obviously wasn't scoring well in the wet. But then 57 and 47 over the last 2 weeks. And that's great news for anyone who is looking to buy him at price at 36. I definitely see a 46 kind of average coming out for him with some bigger scores, 50 plus. Some in the 30s, the 40-odd one when he scores a try. Warriors, Sharks, Canberra, Cowboys. No problem at all with that draw. So if you think that they're going to continue to play well, he should be able to score well. And if you can get that negative 12 out of your brains and look to buy him, I think that could really work out as a cheaper wing fullback option. If you're going for that from Pat, then hopefully you're using someone else in the mid-range or the cheap range that's not playing to go up to a guy that could score really well for you. So that's the chat around Dom Young. Completely up to you whether you want to jump on him this week or not. So yeah, a fun purchase that'll be. A scary one, but a fun one. Then you've got Bostock. I think you can hold or sell 50-50 on that one. Yes, he's gone pretty poor the last 2 weeks and it's going right more, but then he plays 13, 16, 19. Maybe you hold him for 13 and then leave him out and trade him for 14. That's for you, up to you as well, or sell now. Weeks, he's going to be a buy next week. So keep that on the list. Misses 14 though, so keep that in mind. For the next one, those that miss round 13 but play 14, 16, it looks like Latrell is not likely going to be playing Origin, or at least not game 1. They miss anyway, round 13. So he's either a buy this week if you want to go nuts and get a pod, or you can hold off for sure. Chancey Cookstad, he's a hold. Don't sell him, I don't think. They'll turn around eventually and he'll get some good run meters and whatever else back again. AJ Brimson, I've got him as a buy this week. I think that he's in a really good position as well. So let's go Brimson and then Sua, Brom, 579, scoring really well at fullback. Yes, he's getting tries in that, a double and then a single try last week with a couple of line breaks, a try assist. He's running the footy great. Anything over 150, he's going to get tackle breaks. He'll get the odd offload and he'll get attacking stats. Cowboys into Knights. So really good matchups there. I think he can do well. He's very low ownership as well. So someone that you could buy that covers half and wing fullback. Unlikely to play Origin, but could be 18th man, which could cook you. So a risky play at that, but someone that could definitely do a good job. All right, Fire Longo, 394. He's had 2 really good games. He hardly touched the ball, to be fair, apart from that try he scored, and then he had a head knock, had a knee complaint, so could be carrying that knee still. 24 in that 52 minutes, but then the game he played before was 51 and 47. We've all seen the skill that he brings to this game, right? 24 on the weekend means his break-even's not crazy high. The main issue here is that if Pap's out for 4 weeks, you got Cronulla, Para, and Manly. Could score well against those guys. Probably doesn't go crazy, to be honest, but like he could score what he did, in that game, round 27 game against the baby Broncos, that if for sure was. But at 394, it feels like 300k, it'd be easier, but he could only play 3 weeks and then be out after their bye when they play Newcastle in round 14. He could just be gone skis for Pap. Do you want to bring in a guy that doesn't help you in the buys, that could only help you for the next few weeks? Look, if he plays 14, that could be cool, but then likely Pap back in round 15. At least 16 when you'd want him in that one. So it's a tough purchase, in my opinion, this week. Could pay off, might not as well. Dream Buller. So he misses round 13 only. I think you just wait until round 14. And if he's just starting to play well and Tigers are playing a bit better, then that could be an awesome buy then. But I'm not sure at the moment. Then the Origin 50-50s and likelies. Turbo, I think he's a sell come round 13 if he's in Origin. Misses 4 in the next 7. There's that. Dylan Edwards, he's in that Hopgood category, the buy, hold, or sell, depending on how things go. If he makes Origin, if he doesn't, blah, blah, blah. Brian To'o, he's a sell come round 13. He's not getting the ball much out on the left-hand side and misses at least 3 games for Origin. Reece Walsh, you can hold or sell. He's not at a crazy price where you're like, it's probably best to sell him. Likely he's going to have to back up with no Reynolds. We'll see how he goes. But I think over the next 3 weeks, he's going to do well. I probably wouldn't buy him. You could do a 3-week play if you've got a lot of trades, but otherwise I just think he's a hold. And then Tedesco, the final one on the list, he's a buy, hold, or sell, depending on what you decide and what your risk tolerance is. Obviously, with him being most likely going to be in Origin, but he's super cheap at 576. Very good head-to-head buy if you're not worried about, if you don't play those main Origin buy rounds, then that could be cool. But he had a cracking start to the year. He looked incredible. He had 32 against Panthers, which happens. And then he had the 5 against the Dogs, the shocking game with Dom Young as well. And he got that head knock. Came back against the Storm, got a 29, a little bit slow. Looked good against the Dragons without getting the attacking stats big time. And then got the 9 tackle breaks and big run meters last week. And the kick defusals as well for the 72. So he's on the way back up in price. He probably makes 60, 70, 80k over the next 3 weeks. Could really score well against Warriors, Sharks, and Canberra. If he makes Origin, he's a sell. He misses 13, 14, 16, 19. If he doesn't make Origin, then I think a lot of people will try and grab him then, and you'd be ahead of the pack if you jumped on now. If you own, it's a clear hold. If you don't, then I suppose you can decide from there. That was the buy, hold, risk, or sell for round 10. Super excited with looking at guys and who you want across the buy period. Let me know if this video helped you a lot. A few people asked for it. You get it. And you're all legends. Thank you so much for being here at the end. And I hope you enjoy all the videos that come out today.